I'm basically a internal audit professional for the last 20 years and more, and we've been dealing with data analytics and the other internal audit activities generally for the last 20 years now. Okay. Essentially, the interest in data analytics has increased over a period of time since the time that we have been dealing with data analytics from 2001 onwards, primarily because data has exploded. When we started off dealing with data analytics in 2001, there were few organizations which were in ERP using some software and so on, and the most common solution or software being used by even large organizations was Tally, which even today a lot of organizations do. But as time passed, organizations have invested in an ERP, and the most common ERP that organizations have invested in is SAP. And that's where there was this great demand amongst auditors that how do we really work with SAP? It's such a large database. Data gets stored. Where is it stored? How is it stored? How can we query that? And the common question that comes up is, if you want to generate a report in SAP, you need to have an ABAP programmer. And ABAP programmers therefore become holy cows out there. So if there's something what we need to do, we go back to a period of time when you had to request the IT to get some data on, and then we could work with it. While SAP talks about having more than 3,000 odd reports which can be generated, which can be used, but effectively when it comes to audit, which of these 3,000 reports is relevant? There are standard reports, and then there are reports which variance with it. So if I require some modification, I would request and I would have a modified report for me. So when it comes to audit, which of this report would be relevant to me? And that's always a question. Now, should I rely upon the report, or would I want to go back to the back end and get data directly from the tables? It would be always better to get the data from the tables. The question was, how do we do it? So until we had a solution which allowed us to do that, we used to generate the report, import the report into IDEA, and then work with it. Access to the back end, access to the Oracle tables or access to SQL tables, whatever the back end used, was normally not permitted, because there was always an apprehension with the IT that what would happen if we allow access to the internal auditors? Would my performance come down? Would the performance be, or the system absolutely stop? What may happen? And that's where auditors were said, don't come in over here. Whatever you want, please ask us, we will give it to you. It was in that scenario or context that Caseware was talking to SAP, and Audicon, which is a distributor of Caseware in Germany, was having a dialogue with SAP at developing a solution which would talk to SAP directly, natively, and be able to bring in data from SAP. That's where the concept of Smart Exporter started off, and it's been developed. Smart Exporter is available for the last couple of years now, and it is only improving as it is developed. It is a software or a solution which is certified by SAP. SAP has got a very rigorous process through which all authentic SAP supported solutions are certified by them for it to get used, so that it works seamlessly in SAP environment. So the IT concern, whether it would be appropriate or not, gets addressed in terms of that being a certified product on. So that's the background to Smart Exporter. Now what does the Smart Exporter really do, and how do we really? What we all understand is Windows. And what are we really faced with? We are faced with an ERP which is used by a large number of organizations throughout the world. It has, the number of tables are only increasing. While it was 60,000 plus, if you look at somewhere recent statistics, it's around 78,000 plus tables. Now, when it comes to audit inquiry, which of these tables are relevant to us? How do I access them? It's always a concern. Being a German product, a lot of the data dictionary earlier was only Germany or in German language. How do we understand what does the field name mean? There was a challenge earlier. Today we have got data dictionary in English and other languages, and we could download the data dictionary and understand the description of the fields and what data could reside where on that front. The table structures are complex. They are tricky workflows. In fact, in a large Indian conglomerate, they have a pricing table which works with so many different variables to arrive at the price which is applicable, that if one is to do it again, it would be a Herculean task. But it has been configured and it is operational in SAP. It permits you to work with quite complex situations well, and that's where it is there. And it's a diverse company specific entities. You can have multiple on that. So what does Smart Exporter allow us to do? Smart Exporter allows us, we are all familiar with Windows, we don't have to learn anything else in terms of how to interface with the Smart Exporter. So it's a seamless and secure SAP data import. What do we mean by seamless and secure? The access to the SAP database is with the same security access rights and authorities which has been established for any other user of SAP. The concern with respect to modifying data, with respect to accessing data and thereby disrupting normal operations is addressed through the security functionality. So as a user of Smart Exporter, adequate security rights and access rights are established for the user to ensure that we have only a read-only access to the tables on. So the tables in SAP are not being modified one bit when we are using the Smart Exporter to obtain data. So that's one thing in terms of secure. In terms of it being seamless, it's essentially like saying, okay, I want to look at purchase tables. I get a listing of the purchase tables. I say, okay, I want to have this table. What does it contain? There would be a description. I say, what are the fields? I go to the field listing. Okay, these fields have got this type of tables on. I say I want to select these fields only. So if I have got a table with say 80 fields, I just want 5 fields of them for my analysis. I say I select those fields and say that's what I want. So I create a filter and I bring all that data in. So that's where it's about seamless. There is no external activity to be done. I have an interface, it talks to SAP backend directly, gives me a list of tables and brings it in. So it works seamlessly with the SAP structure, SAP data structure directly, and that's where it is seamless. And we all know Windows, so there's less complexity on that. We need to configure the connectivity to the SAP backend once, and having done that setup, we have got access to all the tables at the backend at any point of time. So it's a one-time configuration that needs to be done in terms of connectivity. We have got access to the data dictionary, so we understand what the tables are, what does it contain and so on, and we can study that in English. Once done that, for each audit objective that we want, we can establish what table do we need to access or what tables do we need to access. We are all familiar with the join functionality in IDEA, wherein if we want to combine or we want to bring in data from another table into the one which we are working with, we join the two tables on a common primary key and we bring it in. When we are looking at SAP, where data would be stored in relational databases, we want to bring in specific fields all at the same time. So there is a functionality of join while we are exporting the data from the Oracle and bringing it into IDEA at that stage itself. So once we have the data in IDEA, it's just that data across tables which is available with us at that point of time. So having configured that for an objective, we save it as a favorite, and we use it all the time. So there's a one-time configuration that is necessary. So one-time configuration from a connection point of view, one-time configuration for an objective which can be reused as a favorite the next time we want to go in for. There's a ready link to the analytical tool IDEA. In terms of the output, once we are importing it, we can get it as a CSV file, or it comes in directly into IDEA as an IMD file. The options available to us, and we can select either one of them. There's provision for online and offline mode. We can set up data request, and once we set up the data request, it is not mandatory that we are connected to the SAP database while the request is being defined on. And we can get into a online, if we are connected, we can get into a direct import of that, or we could get into a segmented import of that, or we could get into an offline data request. So whenever it is, once we have created a request, we generate an XML file, we send it to SAP team or somebody else, they generate and give the results back to us. So it allows us for an online where we are connected and we directly talk to the database, we obtain the tables and the fields that we want, or we create a data request, generate an XML file, send it over and get the data back in. So we've got the option of an online as well as an offline option of getting it in, and we can schedule the connection whenever we want. And that's one of the key functionality which is required when we deal with these things. You may not be able to see this very clearly. It's just an interface which sometime later will take you through the solution and we'll be able to see it much clearer. Essentially, I'll just read out what we see over here. We have got a list of tables that are there, and we've got the stages that we go through. So we have all the list of tables, we choose those tables. So the first step is about, for an objective, what tables we want to choose. Second, within the tables, what fields do we want to select? And that's here where we basically are selecting these. This is where the name of the table is, and this is where the fields get listed out. And if you observe over here, for example, we have got a name of DUCRS, which is a company code. So the descriptions available in English for us to understand what's there in which field, and we could select from there what we want. Normally, we are not going to do this isolated. We may request for some IT support for us to do it faster. It is possible to be done without IT support also, but essentially for efficiency purposes, we are going to take their help. If that is not available, we can still do it. Let me put it that way. So that's where it is about selection on for the transactions that we see over here. Collaboration is the additional activity which can be done. So if I am working on some request, I can share it with others, and it's at that point that we can do it. For some of us who are familiar with SQL, there's always, of course, IDEA has got those 5 joins, and I'll come to that. But SQL, we always talk about inner joins, outer joins, and so on and so forth. Now, while that's all there, we'll just try to do a link of what it is. When we look at IDEA, we have got 5 joins when we join 2 files. On the right hand side, we have what we are familiar with in IDEA. So we say all in the primary, bring in all the records in the primary when you match on a particular field. Or you bring all in primary and secondary, or matches only, or secondary only, or primary only. Now these are the 5 options that we have when we do a join in IDEA. Okay? What we have in SQL is something left outer join, which is similar to all in primary, full outer join, which is all in primary and secondary, inner join, matches only, right join, and left join. These are the SQL commands while we are joining files. What we have in IDEA is simple English, all in primary, all in secondary, so on, which we are familiar with. Now when we are joining through the Smart Exporter, only 2 of these joins are possible to be brought in, and that's what we have highlighted over here currently. Currently, we can do an inner join that is we can find matches only and bring the tables in, or we can do a left outer join and bring all in primary while we are doing a join through Smart Exporter. So these are two possibilities that we have. There's something like a data request progress and so on. Now when we are connecting to IDEA, we can connect to IDEA through a direct connect and have all the data coming in all together, or we could stagger the way the data is brought in. Now why do we want to stagger? If the table size is huge, it can impact some performance dimension somewhere, and if we want to optimize that, we would seek to bring in staggered, or we would seek to bring in data which is spread over a period of time. It's like saying bring me 10 MB first, bring me the 10 MB after an hour, or after half an hour, bring me 10 MB after. So we are breaking up the total import over a period of time, and that's the staggering that we look at it. It's from a point of view of optimal system performance or balance. So we have the capability of not getting all the data at the same time and thereby likely to impact the performance, or if the connections are not so very good, we can do it in parts and thereby optimize the performance on. So that feasibility is available to us. Then there are certain options on dictionaries and so on. So when we look at Smart Exporter, is it only for auditors? Now what is the Smart Exporter doing? The scope of the Smart Exporter is to essentially talk to SAP and bring data in from SAP. Is it only for auditors? The answer is no, right? Once data is brought in, if I have got access to the tables and then I can play with it, do I need to have ABAP programmers to work with it? The answer is I have an option now. I have an option that if I don't know ABAP programming also, but I have got access to the tables, I can bring it in and structure out reports the way I want. And that's what we are really working at, right? That's what the Smart Exporter. And therefore, you look at auditors, you look at investigators, but most important, we look at MIS and analytic teams and IT security and control experts. And that's where the beauty of analytic is, that it is taking an individual away from it being an auditor's tool or solution to it being there for whoever wants to work with data and look at the data differently. And that's the migration that is taking place in organizations, and something what Ashish and Amol shared with us in the morning, where it was coming from an operations or a line function saying that, okay, I want to use it and ensure that things happen right. Daxure has also followed a similar kind of an approach in terms of it being an operational tool rather than before it becomes an auditor's tool in that sense. If you correct things right up front, why do you want an auditor to come back and tell us after a year that something was not right? And that's what Mr. Damle also highlighted when he talked about Caseware Monitor being the way forward, which allows us to have a continuous insight into what's happening on the data as near to the transactions as possible, something what we are familiar with as a concurrent audit in the banking sector, which is person dependent as opposed to continuous looking at data through an automated system on certain parameters which we want. Yes, there are exception reports which are generated by all the ERPs, all the solutions, but there are certain analytics which you would want beyond the exception reports, and that's where we have this happening. You have managed, okay. While there are a number of success stories, and if we are to treat Smart Exporter, it is only a initial tool. So can we say that there is a complete success story around the Smart Exporter? The answer could be a no. So when we talk about a success story with Smart Exporter, it is about a user who has visualized how they can save time using an extraction solution that is available. Because by just extracting data, I am not succeeding at anything except having access to the data. What I do with the data is meaningful all about it. So when we talk about a success story, we are talking about the visualization being implemented by a user of using a solution like Smart Exporter and enhancing their capability of auditing or reviewing things. So while success story can be a misnomer, I just thought it to be appropriate to clarify, just by getting data, we don't succeed at anything except having the data with us. In a large consumer durables group in India, where they were already doing some analytics and they wanted to have access to the backend, that's where they said, the time that we are taking of asking the IT to come back with information, give us the data and so on is long. We want to complete our report cycle in a particular time frame, and it's not happening because data comes to us at a later time and not what we want. When we work with data, what we have observed is that as we are analyzing data, there are different lines of inquiry that comes to our mind which we would want to explore. And at that point of time, we can't every time go back to the IT and say, okay, now I want this additional information, can you provide it? And that's again a time frame, by which time we are losing. So when these different lines of inquiry that we encounter as we are working with data, we would want to do it more promptly. And it is at such occasions that we are in a better position to use a tool like Smart Exporter and access data as it is necessary for us at that point of time. So working more efficiently becomes possible using the solution as such. And that's what it was doing. Smart Exporter is essentially a link. Like I said, it is extracting data. So once data is extracted, you could use Excel, you could use any solution as such. So while working with SE16 tables, which also allows us access to the backend, it still used to take time to locate tables, fields, manual extraction, technical SAP fields, SAP field names, and so on. And having switched to Smart Exporter, there has been significant amount of efficiency improvements as we go ahead on. At this stage, I'll just ask Jairam to share with the group over here today.
What we'll do is we'll take you through a few screens of the Smart Exporter application. We do not have an SAP environment at the moment with us, but it will help you appreciate what the solution has to offer in terms of what Mr. Manish has just covered in terms of his presentation. It's a client-based license. Let's first put that across to you. Now, he used certain words in his presentation like favorites and data requests and schedules. So basically, just like us, when we visit any website on the internet and we find that website to be of interest to us, we flag it off as a favorite so that we can bring in that favorite at any time and refer to it. In the same way, you have what we call as favorites out here. Now, what the favorites allow you to do is, it allows you to create your favorite data extraction request. Right? So let me take you, spend a few minutes giving you an example, and then I'll take you through the screens. In SAP, you have an internal control objective where you would like to identify if there are splitting of indents taking place. Right? Now, to check for splitting of indents, the corresponding table which contains the indent data is the table which is called IBAN. Okay, so if I go to create data request here, I can go to table selection here, and all I need to do is, you will see a list of tables out here, and you will actually, if you look at the top out here, let me just highlight this. Here, you can see this. Number of tables in this data dictionary are 47,584. Now, to use this tool, you need to have some preliminary information on the key tables in SAP. So we know as a fact that one of the tables which contain indent information is IBAN. So I type the table name here, IBAN, and all the variants of IBAN will show up on my screen. Now here I choose the IBAN table, and you can see, as Manish explained here, you have the description, purchase, requisition by the side. So I just click on IBAN, right? And now what I would like to do is I would like to optimize. I don't want to bring in all the fields in IBAN. I want to bring in selective fields. So I can go to fields and filters, and okay, so that I think it's a screen resolution issue, but you would get to see all the fields in display here, right? You can pick up the fields of your choice here and understand which fields we need. So let's say we need requisition number, that's very important. We need the line item number, we need the document date, we need the deletion indicator. Now these are the fields which are essential for us to perform the test within IDEA. So you highlight those fields here, and then the next step is you can actually put in filters, right, where you can say, I want table data only between quarter so-and-so and quarter so-and-so. I want table data only for plant so-and-so. You can put in filters. This is what Manish was talking about, the joins, where you can perform, the inner join and the outer join with other tables. So if I would like to link, let's say, IBAN with my purchase order table, which is EKPO and EKKO, that I can do here. Right? So it gives me that facility to join the tables here. And then finally in the options screen here, I have an option of choosing my preferred export option. So you have CSV with header, you have AIS SAP format, that's a .SAP file, and you have a direct plugin to IDEA itself. So if you choose IDEA, if you have an IDEA license on the machine which has Smart Exporter, the table will get downloaded and it will get pushed directly into your IDEA active working folder. So it's a direct plugin to IDEA. And you can choose any of these formats depending on whether you are using IDEA or you're using any other analytical tool or scripting tool in the process. And then this is what we were talking about in terms of staggered exports. They call it synchronous, asynchronous. So if I would like to bring in all the data right away, I can give the priority here, high, medium, low, and I can define the package size here. So you can see this here. Select a package size when transferring data. Larger sizes result in faster transfers, but increase the load on the system and require more memory. So if you're bringing in a small table, maybe you're bringing in something like a vendor master table, which is relatively small, you can put it to maximum so you get all the data right away. Or you're bringing in a header table, you can put it to maximum. But if you're bringing in something like MSEG, which is a very large table and contains material movements, you can actually stagger it. You can put it and you can schedule it for 9 o'clock in the night, and you can schedule it in such a way by the time you come the next morning, you've got the whole table buffered and available in your working folder. Now, all of this can be saved in the form of a favorite, which is what we see here. Right? And this favorite can be invoked by you at any time. So I can go to favorite and click on run, and I will be able to run that particular favorite, and I would be able to get my result. The process of creating a connection is very simple. It's as simple as going to connection, and you just need to fill in a few details here, which I explained very simply in English. You need to give a connection name, which is your own name. You can define the name as per your convenience. You need to just give the application server IP address here, right? And yeah, let's not forget a very important part here. If I go to the logon data, the next sheet, you need to give the user ID and password. And this again is a one-time process. Fill in the details, test the connection, your connection is active and live, and you can start using the solution. Right? So this is something which is available and very useful. It can connect to multiple SAP instances. It resides on a single client, right? And quite an effective solution available.